Sure, sure. So, guys, welcome to my second podcast episode. I never thought I would ever do this, but everybody has told me that I needed to do it. So, a couple weeks ago, I said, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to dive right in. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to have engaging conversations with special people throughout the country and throughout different walks of life and different communities across our country. Today, we have Mike McGrail with us. Mike is a retired Marine, 20 years. Thank you for your service, Top.
Appreciate it.
This man has spent 20 years sacrificing for our country. It looks like he's been to about 15 different countries. Once he got out, he started to see a lot of the problems that were going on with veterans and veterans' health and the VA and all this stuff. So he became a health coach. And that has kind of put him in the advocacy arena of health, mental health, physical health, gut health. Things I see every day from him posting on Facebook, educating others, and not just veterans, but everybody. So, Mike, welcome to the program, man. It's great to have you on. I appreciate you.
Thanks, man. This is an opportunity. I'll tell you, like, I've seen everything that you have done for our community as veterans. And I actually had to name drop you today to the law firm that I'm working with on the 3M lawsuit because they were interested in knowing what veterans are doing to help one another. So to be here with you, man, like, yeah, it's a privilege. It's cool to be able to catch up.
Oh, man, the feeling is mutual, man. The feeling is definitely mutual. But, I wanted to start out, a little icebreaker here. So you were a Marine for 20 years. You're a tough guy. And it says here that before you joined the Marine Corps in high school, you were a cheerleader, a male cheerleader who actually competed on ESPN at Disney World. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at 5'7", 5'8", and 145 pounds in high school, football really wasn't the best option for me. I thought it would be. I tried that for a year, and as I progressed in high school, I made it to my senior year, I had a background in gymnastics. A couple of the cheerleaders said, hey, we're putting together a squad. We're pretty competitive. The year before, they had competed at nationals. It's a national high school cheerleading championship. If you watch ESPN enough, you're going to see it pop up from time to time, and they're doing some pretty cool stuff. Throwing people away.
I'm not going to lie, dude. Those guys are tough.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And so my senior year, I really committed to it. We did camp. I continued, and I picked up gymnastics where I dropped off when I was younger. And we went to Disney World. We placed third in our division for the nation, which was incredible. Going into high school and thinking that, like, oh, we're going to be competing at a national level. We had an Olympic gold medalist interview us on ESPN to celebrate. I think it's been long enough. I can say we went streaking around the resort in Disney World, myself and the other guys. We had an incredible time, man. Like, nice. It was pretty cool, but not something that I really shared openly in my career until a little bit later on.
Hey, man. There's a need for cheerleaders, and there's a need for male cheerleaders. Somebody's got to throw them cheerleaders up in the air and catch them and all that other stuff. And plus, you bring a different, field of the game. And hey, I'm sure the football players and all that other stuff. And then I know it competes into something even bigger than that. Like, you had said gymnastics and all that stuff, but that's a lot of strength. That's a lot of strength. So,
and I'll tell you, I'll interrupt. I didn't put it in when I wrote you that note. I joined the Marine Corps because a girl that I was cheerleading with in high school told me I didn't have the balls to be a Marine.
Oh, okay.
I was on the Army ROTC path. No shame. I don't hate anybody in the Army. I've worked with the Army on various occasions. They do their job well. For whatever reason, when that girl told me that, I was only going for the Army because I didn't have the balls to be a Marine at that point in time in my life, I took it to heart. I have no idea where she is to this day, but I proved her wrong.
Well, the thing is that things all happen sometimes in our lives, and we don't know how or why. And then you look
Yeah.
back and then you say, haha, all right. Well, cool, man.
Yeah.
It's great that you got to experience that and have that moment. And who knows, if it wasn't for that one lady, maybe you would have never become a Marine. And that has kind of molded you into who you are today as a retired Master Sergeant, United States Marine Corps. Again, thank you for your service. Let's dive into a little bit on physical health and what you do now to help others, with their gut health and their mental health and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So I think it's important to start at the beginning. Like, as veterans, we know going into it, from the first week of boot camp, your health is very important. We all remember, those who have served, you all remember getting your shots and going through medical, and there's the long line, you're getting a shot in one arm, maybe you've got somebody on the other arm, you're getting a shot in the other. And taking care of our health is something that's really, it's embedded in what we do. But as I continued with my career, after 4 tours in Iraq, I did 2003, 5, 6, and 7. I got home and it was always the same questionnaire. There was never any real care after we filled out the questionnaire. From 2008 to 2011, I went to a command position where I supported as an assistant staff officer, and I did some really great work. But again, all the care that we received was responsive or reactive. There wasn't anything that we were really doing to be proactive in our health. And by the time I was 15 years into my
say
career,
is that, as Marines, we're taught preventative maintenance, right? PM that vehicle, PM that vehicle, PM that. But
yeah,
they don't teach how to take care of yourself. Especially when you get out, you should see the VA. It is absolutely incredible to see how many veterans are so unhealthy in this country that they can't even walk, that they're so big that they get pushed around in wheelchairs and their shoes don't even fit. They're untied. And they are fed pills upon pills upon pills. They have bad diets and they have Mountain Dews and Snicker bars and this and that. And it's like, man, you guys are day to day here. There really needs to be an approach here to really understand health and, maintaining a healthy lifestyle. And it would really cut down on the wait times at the VA hospitals and trying to get good care when you're really sick and not just there because you have diabetes times 100 and you keep feeding that disease.
And you nailed it. You nailed it. I mean, if you look at medication as a bandage, you can put as many bandages on you want as an arterial bleed. If at some point you don't actually address the arterial bleed, you're going to lose that victim. Mm-hmm. And symptom management, my professional opinion, I did hundreds and hundreds of hours in the classroom to get my certification to become an integrative health coach. My big conclusion between my experience in the military and my training as an integrative health coach is that in the military and continuing to the VA, we are very, very good at symptom management. Uh-huh. And what that means is that we only get to a point where we will address the issue at hand as it is so that we can continue getting down the road. And what that looks like is if you do a 4-year enlistment, if you do 8 years, whatever it may be, when you get kicked out the door, my name is Mike McGrail now. I'm no longer Master Sergeant McGrail. The day after I took that rank off, that uniform off, my health care is no longer a priority to the DOD. That expense isn't something the DOD really has to worry about too much anymore. The VA picks it up, don't get me wrong, but their job is to get you to your last patrol and not a step further than that.
Yeah.
It's a tough job. It's undoubtedly a tough job. What I discovered through a fluke of these weird circumstances was this thing that was called gut health. And gut health is truly what it sounds like. It's the health of our digestive tract. Our bacteria and the bacteria that exists within our body outnumbers human cells by like 10 to 1. It's an outrageous number. But we don't talk about the fact we're made primarily of bacteria, and that bacteria regulates things like our sleep, our mood, our digestion, of course. The way that we respond to situations, there are so many different things that are controlled by this whole gut health. And when we start addressing it, my personal experience where I was a skeptic was, well, now I don't need a nap at the end of the day. I can get home from work and I can enjoy my kids. I'm not pushing my children away, which as a dad is embarrassing for anybody to say, or as a parent, I should say, is embarrassing. But I was tired, I was cranky, I was that bitter staff NCO that many of us probably met at some point in time. And my wife hadn't even noticed because it became so normal for me. I would just go home and I would go right to the couch and take a nap.
You
The
know,
naps went away.
better, your pounded coffee,
Oh my God.
stay up and alert. I know every single Marine Corps, office I've ever been in, whether you were in the field or if you were back in garrison, is a never-ending supply of coffee. And now still in the veteran community, it's caffeine, being caffeine, and obviously that's not the cure-all. The cure-all is having good gut health, so you have that energy, you don't have that afternoon crash, and you can live a life of what's the word I'm looking for here? Just live a good functioning life. Now, you had mentioned a few things, about how a lot of doctors are treating a lot of their patients these days. And really, at the end of the day, they're treating symptoms, right? And they're not treating the overall root of the problem. So we continue to put all this poison into our body just to get us through the day. When we're at the end of the day, all it is doing is further deteriorating our internal organs, and it's putting a lot of unnecessary strain on our body, when you could be doing it the right way through exercise, through food choices, whole food choices, just simple, walking, diet, exercise. But you mentioned the gut health. I know that's one thing I see every single day. You are talking about gut health, gut health, gut health. Why is gut health so important to the average, human being?
From a time that we're young, we learn core strength is important, right? PE, we go to gym and we talk about core strength. If you have good core strength, you can lift, you can stand up straight, you can carry a backpack, all these different things. If you think of gut health as core strength, that's really what it is. From the time that we're born, and this is like brand new science within the past 10, 15 years. From the time that we are born, the bacteria that we have in our body dictates the quality of life that we'll have. Babies who are born via C-section don't get that same bacteria, which is why they're more prone to asthma, allergies, like food allergies, sensitivities, skin conditions, learning disorders, things like that. So you think about it, like for the average person, from the time that you're born, if the bacteria in your body represents what you're capable of and what your body can stand up to, why not look at that and say, well, what else will it do for me?
Mm-hmm.
Coffee is a great example. It's hard to imagine being a Marine and forgetting your cup of coffee at home when you've been drinking it every single day for years. You don't walk out the cup. I mean, that's as important as walking out the door with your keys in hand. You have your coffee mug in the other. When people call me up and they're like, hey, you've been working with me, I actually had that moment today. That's it. The gut regulates everything to the point now that you and I probably both know paraplegics, quadriplegics, individuals who lose that function because of a nervous system disconnect. The gut continues to function on its own. And even though it may be disconnected, it has 80, I want to say, million neurons in it. So it's able to think for itself. And the latest science is saying that, well, if it can think for itself and it has 80 million neurons, is the brain really telling the gut what to do? Or is the gut telling the brain what to do? And the nerve to get deep into the geeky science stuff, it's coming out that the nerve, the vagus nerve, which connects the gut to the brain, may actually be relaying in the opposite direction that traditional knowledge would say. And the gut is truly telling the brain what to do, which is why when we say trust your gut feeling, it matters.
So
When it comes down to,
comes from that healthy gut.
yeah, it comes from that healthy gut. And, you know, what happens that we destroy it? It could be antibiotics. It could be stress,
I don't
right? Like how many antibiotic?
them damn things that go ahead.
Yeah, my son had to do 3 antibiotic regimens for a toenail this past summer. 3 separate times he was on antibiotics. For the first time, now he's experiencing headaches, which headaches are tied to the gut. It's inflammation popping up. We're putting him back on probiotics. I'm a huge advocate for supplementation because it's difficult to get it. But what ends up happening, and the way that we get to the point of destruction, is our gut, our digestive lining is only a couple cells thick. And those few cells keep the toxins from leaking out into our body and make sure that all the waste is expelled the way that it should naturally be expelled. When that doesn't happen, or when we're getting backed up, or any number of different things, what happens is the cellular wall breaks down, and that allows an opportunity for the toxins to break out into the body and begin flooding into the bloodstream. That creates what you and I know as an autoimmune response. The body doesn't recognize what's going on. It recognizes that there is something there that shouldn't be there, and it just begins to attack.
So
that manifests
poisoning. Your body.
Yeah, you're poisoning your body at that point in time. That's a really easy point to inject a medication to cover up a symptom. A guy, a vet that I spoke with today, I hope he doesn't mind, I won't mention his name, but I spoke with him today. He's in his mid-50s. He's trying to get aches and pains resolved by the VA, and they're saying, well, we're not going to take care of that because you don't have diabetes.
Right.
Well, why are we going to wait for somebody to get to that point when we can look at, he has inflammation through his entire body. He has aches and pains through his entire body. And he has every single symptom that I would look for. IBS. I think you mentioned anxiety, fatigue, depression, insomnia, you name it. That list goes on. Gut health has 300 symptoms. He's got a lot of these. And they're saying, well, you don't have diabetes yet, so you're not at the point where we're going to treat you. It's symptom management. And it's to the point that we're causing a national security issue because it's damaging teenagers. And we're seeing that impact our recruiting, our national readiness. It's impacting our GDP because we're going to be paying more for our health care by the year 2050 than we're producing as a nation.
I probably well before 2050. And again, preventative maintenance is something that we are, that is drilled into our heads. Preventative maintenance.
Yeah.
And now nobody practices that preventative maintenance anymore.
No.
You got to look at your body as an investment, right? Without a healthy body, you're not living a healthy lifestyle. Without a healthy lifestyle, you are going to not be a very good contributor to society. And if you're not a good contributor to society, that will affect your job, your workplace, your family, your children, on and on and on and on and on. So it's something as simple as gut health can really affect everything around you, your surroundings, again, your relationships. As a health coach, as a former Marine, as a 20-year combat veteran in the United States Marine Corps, you now instruct and you teach and you lead other folks. Who does Mike take care of? Who is the client? Who are the clients of Mike? Who is best suited to be sent your way to help them with their with their overall health?
Wow, that's a really good, that's a deep question.
Who is your perfect client?
My perfect client is a patriot.
Mike.
Let me backtrack to the why, because I think the why is super important here. You mentioned being a contributor to society. We have a generation of veterans with incredible experience, worldly experience. We fought a war on more than two fronts, if you think about it. We had folks in Africa, we had folks in Iraq, we had folks in Afghanistan, we had folks expeditionary, and then things started popping up in Europe, over the past 10 years or so. We have a generation of leaders that have a lot to contribute to our society. And my fear is that if they're not healthy enough to take care of themselves and their families, we're going to lose that leadership as a nation. The people that are ideal for me, I love working with the patriot that wants to be in good shape, that's coachable, that's open to making changes, little changes. I'm not going to tell somebody to go out and cut bacon out of their diet. Like, I'm not all about that. I'm not that. I'm like this weird combination of combat veteran and hippie. Um, I I love working with the people who can look around and say, you know what? I still have a lot to give. I just need a little bit of help. I need a little bit of support and I need a little bit of knowledge. And if you can help me a little bit here and there, we can make steps together. I'm always by their side, never above, never below, always alongside you. That that really that's who I want to work with, man. I just want to work with the people that want to make an impact where they are. And don't get me wrong, the impact can be, I had a brother that I served with. I think he retired as a staff sergeant or a gunny, and he got out 2.5 months later. I was helping him with supplementation, primarily supplementation. And I got a phone call, and he said, Mike, I just wanted to tell you I enrolled in college. I felt so much better. I'm in my mid-40s. I'm retired. I have a job, but I enrolled in college. And I feel so much better that I've decided I want to get my ex-wife, rather, important differentiation. I want my ex-wife to be teamed up with you because I think you can help her help too. And to be able to pass that along, it's all about the ripples that we can make. I think this is to get deeply personal. Leaving the Marine Corps when I did was something that I needed to do for my family, for myself. My body was hurting. There was a morning that I woke up just before Christmas and I could barely stand up. My back hurt so bad with what was going on. The timing was really, really good, but getting out of the Marine Corps, I've realized, and this is something I think maybe you realized as well, the opportunity to lead is so far beyond what we wear on our collar. And it's so far beyond a title that's given to us. Those leaders that really hit the pinnacle, I'm not there yet, but if I can make my ripple bigger, so that, and Damien, I see your comment down there. I appreciate that. Sean, like, if we can reach out and if we can help other veterans, we don't have to be in uniform to do that. We can give a hand up. It could be in a Sophie's hike with Irreverent Warriors. It could be with a nonprofit, getting together, doing disaster relief with Team Rubicon, whatever it may be. There are so many opportunities out there, but again, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to help one another out, and we have to be ready to stand up. If we can't do the preventative maintenance to be ready for that situation, that opportunity, when it presents itself, then what are we doing?
Yeah, you got to lead by example. You got to show your clients that you're in, that you're in the fight. That you are doing everything right for yourself. You're showing them, results, and that it does work, and that to stay in the fight and to trust the process. So I do like the fact that you will bring folks on and work with them and actually develop a blueprint, right? You'll develop a blueprint for these folks, and you will guide them to essentially graduate, cross that finish line to where they can do it themselves, and perhaps help out a family member or a friend or a neighbor or a colleague. This isn't something that you're going to need for the rest of your life. I need Mike to coach me in my health every single day for the rest of my life. No. I don't think that's what you're doing here. I think that what you're trying to do here is you're trying to help a certain amount of people, graduate them, and then they can get on and they can live a contributable life, do so in a healthy manner. So for folks that are listening out there, or whoever it may be, if they want to get serious about their gut health and they want to learn some techniques and develop a blueprint that will help themselves, how can they reach you? And what's the name of your business, phone number, social media?
Yep. So Carteret Health Coach is the name of my practice. When it comes Carteret Health Coach, Carteret County, North Carolina, for those that might know the area. Managed to retire out here. God, it's beautiful. If anybody wants to come fishing, brother, I would love to have you come out.
Like the Ozarks,
yeah.
Right? No, that's the wrong one. That's the North Carolina show. That's
tuna. We got the tuna show. You're talking. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Outer Banks.
Yeah, Outer Banks. I love Outer Banks.
That actually looks a lot like it is out here.
Yeah.
God, it's beautiful out here. It's incredible. Living with the kids, Carteret, Carteret, Carteret Health Coach, CarteretHealthCoach.com, Carteret Health Coach. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Truth be told, I do a lot more word of mouth. MJ McGrail is my Instagram. I appreciate word of mouth because, again, veterans helping veterans, it really seems to get a genuine audience of people that are looking for help. And that's the biggest thing. Like, we have to want it for ourselves. I can't tell somebody this is what you should be eating if they're not wanting to make a change, because okay,
yeah,
that just doesn't work. My office number, more than happy to give it out, 252-515-1248. But if anybody is watching, you can see my profile name on here. Please feel free, send me a friend request, and just send me a quick note as to a couple things that you would like to work on, a couple struggles that you have, maybe a question or two. I put it up. Mike the Health Coach is my TikTok. I never imagined doing TikToks. I'm not doing any dances on there yet, but
I just started.
TikTok is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, TikTok is fun because you can meet some incredible people, and I like to share some unusual health facts on there that people might not otherwise learn. Any one of those platforms, Carteret Health Coach in general, will bring me up in Google. And again, I'm more than happy. A lot of people, what I've experienced, what my observation is with vets, a lot of vets know what they need to do. They already know how to implement the steps, but because of environmental conditions, situations, medication, like I mentioned, antibiotics, traumatic brain injury. You wouldn't expect it, but traumatic brain injury kills bacteria in the gut. And the absence of the bacteria in the gut creates a situation that mimics post-traumatic stress. So if you hit your head and you kill the bacteria, your body then responds by giving you nightmares, poor sleep, brain fog, anxiety, depression, fatigue.
Yeah.
All these different things.
The brain fog, for sure.
Yeah. Most vets right now have been there. Some of them have been able to get better on their own. Nutrition does matter. My experience right now is leaning toward more vets just want to supplement and have a phone that they can pick up and talk for 10, 15 minutes. Hey, am I doing this right? Mm-hmm. And I do work with a line of supplements. I'm very, very proud of the supplements that I work with. I met the doctors and the scientists behind them. I'm more than happy, and I love working with vets on health coaching. And that works on a case-by-case basis because we'll sit down. My intake is an hour. It's no cost to a veteran. We'll sit and talk for an hour about the individual and about their needs.
Right.
And just, is this something that I'm actually going to be able to help you with? Because I'm retired and totally disabled. I'm not here to make a killing on veterans. I just want to see them get better.
And I know, and I've seen that, and I applaud you for that. When I began to change my life, physically, mentally, and emotionally in 2019, I was ready. I was ready to get out of the chair and to begin to eat healthy and to begin to do all the stuff that I needed to do to live a better life, right? To be reborn, to live a life of, fulfilling my needs and the needs of my family and all that stuff, and having that purpose. And it's so important because you can fall down, and you can catch yourself in a whirlwind of nightmares, like you said. But it's up to that person to realize it is you against you, and nobody else is going to do it for you. If you want to be unhealthy and uncoachable, well, that's on you, right? You got to be accountable to that, to that. And if you don't care, well, then you don't care. But if you do care and you want to change your life, folks, I would definitely recommend, to reach out to Mike. So I've got one more question for you, Mike. Look, this is a great interview, and I really appreciated having you on with your knowledge and, and your friendship. Who are do you see a lot of your clients in person, or is a lot of this over telephone, like through a Facebook Live, or how do you connect with your clients?
A lot of it is over the telephone. Most of it's over the telephone. I have a couple individuals here locally, but I have folks out in Okinawa. Okinawa, Alaska. I think as far northeast is probably New York right now, maybe Massachusetts, California, and then I had some folks that I'm working with out in the Middle East and in Europe as well.
Wow.
Yeah, like I like being flexible. I have 2 kids. I think I mentioned that before. I have 2 kids, and that's the other part of why this is so important. Like, we need to raise our next generation of leaders, because I watch the news and I see what's going on in the real world, and if we don't raise them, the people that are going to raise them for us are kind of scary. So being able to work from home, which is what I do, this is my, my office upstairs, I'm able to be flexible. If somebody's over in the Middle East and they need to work, they need to talk it out, maybe they're at an embassy, whatever it may be, not a problem. We jump on Facebook, face to face, we can pick up the phone, we can Zoom. And it's really, really great. For the people that I can meet face to face with, a cup of coffee, maybe some sushi. I have an 80-year-old woman right now. She's a client, not a vet. I had a local cardiologist that referred me to her, but I swear I've learned every bit as much from her as she's learned from me, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a privilege. It's a privilege to serve. It's a privilege to serve others. But to be allowed to help somebody with their health, what's more valuable than your health? Really?
I mean, really, if you're not here, I mean, if you're dead, right? You're dead.
That's it.
So it's everything, until you figure that out. Like, well, without me being in a physical body, so why not have good health and choose to live a life of gratitude, maybe, be happy that you're alive, and kind of take things, in stride, one day at a time, and do the best you can, to make that possible. On a closing note, what advice would you give our listeners today, from Mike, the Cataray health coach from North Carolina? What kind of advice could you give our listeners today?
So whether you reach out to me or not, anybody tuning in, whether you reach out, Carter at Health Coach, Mike the Health Coach, MJ McGrail on Instagram, whatever it may be, you are your own primary care provider.
Correct.
There is nothing, not a single thing that a medical professional can do in a annual 20-minute visit that will undo the life decisions you make 365 days a year. You are the one who is responsible for your health, for your wellness, for your happiness. Every single day, you have the opportunity to make a decision. And you will pay for those decisions at some point in time in your life. Health is expensive. Health is very, very expensive. But a lot of people right now choose to pay at the end of their life. And it's more expensive then. They're trying to survive for those last years in pain and misery, wondering what happened. I've met so many people that have said, if I had only known I was going to live this long, I would have just taken better care of myself. If you take care of yourself right now,
Yeah.
yep, you're gonna end up that 102-year-old grandpa sipping on whiskey with bacon and eggs for breakfast, and everybody's gonna say, "What'd you do?" And he said, "You know what? I paid attention to what I was putting in my body. I surrounded myself with happy people. I lived to my highest purpose, and I was here with a purpose and a mission."
One more thing, because
Yeah.
this little thing keeps sparking. I was at the VA today, and old gentleman was sitting by me. He strikes up a conversation, and he goes, "Yeah, I was at the VA. They were treating me for pinched nerve in my back, and they were giving me shots in my spine, and all this stuff." And turns out 9 months later that he didn't have any pinched nerve or anything wrong with this spine area. It was something totally unrelatable. But what I'm trying to say is they were treating him for something that he did not have. And I said, look, you have got to be your biggest advocate. If you think that there's something wrong with you other than what they're telling you, you need to pretty much diagnose yourself as a or as a human being. It could be a civilian hospital either. There's the care that civilians even get, is really at the end of the day, these doctors are practicing. There's great doctors, there's great clinicians, there's great nurses, but we have 350 million people in this country, and a lot of people are sick. And there's a nurse shortage, there's a doctor shortage. So these folks are busy. So if you think you know what's wrong with you, go to the doctor and advocate for yourself. Say, hey, look, I'm going to diagnose myself with this. Until you rule it out, this is what my problem is. So let's get it fixed. So that's going to help the doctors and the nurses with a lot of paperwork and a lot of them trying to figure out, okay, a lot of practice. Like, what's wrong? Well, this is what I got, and this is what I think I got. But until you rule it out, that's what I'm going with.
And you know what?
Right there is the number one thing, is to advocate for yourself and have a voice for yourself, because nobody else is going to advocate for you harder than you. Period. The end.
Yeah. If I'm going to jump on it. I know we're probably going over. I hope you don't mind, but when it comes down to it, it's very easy. I don't recommend Google for a lot of things. You can use any search engine. Look up.
You Google anything, you're dead. It's like, hey, I feel like Google. They're like, well, fine, you're dead. Google, I feel like this. Well, shit, you got 3 days to live. And I'm like, holy shit. And then the anxiety, and then the heart starts to race, and you're like, holy cow, I got to call my doctor. And you become a worrywart, right? So go ahead.
The one thing that you can do is you can look up the term gut health plus whatever symptom, literally gut health plus post-traumatic stress, gut health plus indigestion, gut health plus the things that you will come up with will blow your mind. And I mean, literally, there have been things that I'm like, there is no way. Yeast in your toenails tied to gut health. Dandruff tied to gut health. All these different things. There are so many different things that are tied to gut health.
Sure.
Also, while I'm saying that you are your primary care provider, most doctors are not yet practicing anything regarding gut health. It's not taught in medical schools. Nutrition is only taught to about 10% of actual medical doctors. So these individuals, when you're looking for a long-term resolution, like what you're talking about, getting spun up to a point that you can take care of yourself, you don't need to keep on coming back.
Right.
That doesn't fit the capitalist medical model.
Right.
It would be cool if it did, but it doesn't, because a client cured is a client lost.
Yep. Unfortunately, that's the world we're living in today, with big pharma and all that money that's cycling through, the country, and it's easy. Like I said, just don't have time to sit there and coach you and to hold you accountable to eating the right stuff. They just push prescriptions and push prescriptions until you're either better or you're no longer with us. So that's the benefit of working with the health coach, just keep you accountable and to give you the knowledge, the blueprint, and the power that you need to live a healthy, long, prosperous life. So Mike, appreciate you, Top. Tuesdays with Tally. This is my second episode. It's fun. I like it. It's engaging. Just having a simple conversation with everyday people. So, Mike McGrail, I'd like to thank you for joining me today. You're a great guy with a lot, with very extensive knowledge, life
Thank you, man.
knowledge. Okay, so folks out there want to have, a conversation with Mike. He already said feel free to reach out to him. And also, I wanted to mention that next week, episode 3, I will be sitting down with Jeremy Harrell. Jeremy is a combat veteran, and he is based in Kentucky. And he is also the founder of Veterans Group Incorporated. Veterans Group Incorporated with Jeremy Harrell next week, folks. Until then, Mike, thank you. And we'll see you guys all next week.